Food. Food. Yummy. Yummy.
Hi. Hi everybody. This is my first show of Menu from Mars. It's going to be a very quick one, probably 5-10 minutes, and it's going to actually be a recipe that my wife and I came up with that is the most commonly asked for one from friends and family. It's just a jalapeno dip with cream cheese and jalapenos and habanero sauce. That's it. You need 3 blocks of cream cheese. I like Philadelphia. I know I'm supposed to block out labels and not mention companies, but oh well. 4 to 5 jalapenos unless they're real small. Then you obviously want more if they're real big, less, and you're looking at 3 to 5 drops of Habanero Extract. First thing we're going to do, obviously, is wash peppers. Get all the yucky, dirty germies off them. And a little trick I believe I picked up from Alton Brown, I'm not sure, is after you dry something with a paper towel, you take it and you throw it underneath your cutting board so that it won't slide when you're cutting stuff. When you're cutting up the jalapenos, you got to put 1 hole in the blender to begin with, so I usually just pick my favorite one that's peppery and I throw it in. So you just want to cut the outer edge off the peppers. You don't want any of the seeds or the membranes from the inside, or you'll burn your family's O-ring. So you might want to wear gloves when you do this. I don't, but this is how I cut my peppers. I cut the pulp or the skin off slowly, but I do it in 4 sides like this. I'm not sure who I picked that up from, but you just end up with waste that you can toss out, and this goes in the blender. So you just want to cut up, I'm going to put 5 in this time because my brother's here and I want to make it a little hotter than normal. But what will happen is, by using the fresh peppers instead of sauce, you get a real jalapeno-y, my own word, taste. And it tastes like fresh peppers instead of jarred sauce. So you just chop them all up, like I said, and then there's going to be cleanup of all the seeds. I'm usually a little better at it than this, but I'm nervous because all of you are watching. Chop them up, throw them in the blender, hat on. And I use the food chop to start with, but this is going to take a while. This is not something that just, you're going to have to scrape it down a couple of times. It's going to give you a real hard time at times, but we're looking just to get a fine chop here, and then when we add this stuff later, we're looking to liquefy it. On. Of course, you've got to plug it in. On. And alright, what I do is I take the 3 blocks of cream cheese, put it down, paper towel, and I cut it into 1/8. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to need to add half of this to the peppers that are chopping up there, and then make things real noisy. It's not quite ready, so I'm going to run this a little longer, and I need my scraper. You want to scrape it down. You want to make sure you're getting everything. Like I said, it needs to be a fine chop before you add the cream cheese blocks. But you'll want to cut all of them up like that, and the extra ones you're throwing in here.
I'm speeding things up so you don't get bored. Wonderful.
Okay, like I said, you just want to cut everything into 4ths. eighths rather, half and half. And then you're gonna take half of it, cut into fours, put it in, and start the blender again. And while that's cutting up, I cut up the rest of the cream cheese and throw it in a bowl. Now I'm gonna cut away and magically have everything cleaned up. You sit tight. Are you looking to make tens of dollars selling your product on my show? That's right, you can make tens of dollars. Tens of dollars! Tens of dollars! I have 11 followers. You could almost make your money back. Cash! Money! Your product could be featured on my show. Your product. We're not talking crap in the can. Your real life product. Money! Do you know what you could do with tens of dollars? Woo! Tens of dollars! Your product. Alright, you want to scrape down the sides of the blender. It's not quite liquefied yet. And yes, this is a long process. And then I am just going to keep the blender going until this turns into liquid. Now we got it on high. Alright, now here is where you add the Habanero Extract, and you need to be careful with this, boys and girls, because this stuff hurts. You should wear gloves, so should I, but I'm stupid. So you just want 3 to 4 drops of this if you're making it for family and friends. If it's just for you and your buddies, you can put 4, 5, or 6 in. I'm making this for my family, so I'm not going to put a whole lot in. I'm just going to put in 4. But you want to do this while it's in the blender, and try not to make too many mistakes. 3, 4. Wipe it down. Don't get that stuff on your fingers, because if you rub your eyes or wipe yourself later, it's going to hurt. So you put it back in and you run the blender again. That's that. We're done with Joe Blender. So I can unplug it now. And now you need the hand mixer. This is something my wife made me do for texture. She didn't like it all yucky like this. So this actually isn't for flavor, this is for texture. And it actually works out better after it chills overnight. You have the cream cheese cut into blocks there, and you just drop it in. Scrape it down, make sure you get everything in there. All the goodness off the blades and in. Usually I would clean as I go the appliances and put them in the dishwasher, but I don't have time for that today. So you take your hand mixer, and this takes a little while as well. And I start on low and 1. Just kind of mash everything up. And stop blending. You need a big bowl for this, or else it's going to go everywhere, and it may still go everywhere anyway. So this is kind of the first stage of it. You're going to have to do it a couple of times. And you are going to have to scrape the bowl down a couple of times as well. Just to get it to the right texture. You're going for, if you've ever over whipped whipped cream, that's the texture you're going for. chunky whipped cream. You can go up to about, I go up to 2 or 3 during this once it gets all done. And that's about the texture you want it at. Like I said, chunky whipped cream. And it's good to go at this point. Get away from me with the camera. Go away. It hurts. Take off your beaters. Get that all off. And at this point, you just need a container to put it in. Like I said, this is a real easy recipe, but whenever I make this, everybody asks me for it. So now everybody in the world can actually see how I made it. Family, friends, those who don't know me. And you just scrape it down, put it in a container. I would refrigerate it for a couple of hours. Better overnight. I just like the texture that it gives. If it sits overnight, and it will be hotter now than it actually will be the next day. It will mellow a little bit overnight, not a whole lot, some. So if you find that it's too hot the day that you make it, just let it sit overnight in the fridge and then give it another try. But that's it. You just get your wheat thins. Oh, I'm supposed to try it on camera like they all do. So you get your wheat thins, and I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say product names, but it doesn't taste as good with any other cracker. It's got to be wheat thins. So Nabisco, you're welcome. And yeah, just take a little bit. And that's it. Refrigerate overnight. I hope everybody who wanted this recipe enjoys it. And if I'm so inclined, I'll see you next time. I don't want to clean up.
It's good.
Yeah.